Well,
where do you live?
well, now we live down between Danville and South Boston, Virginia. The county there is called Halifax County. Land changes there. It's just flat and hot as it can be. I hate that place.
How long have you been playing?
Let's see. I started when I was kind of late, when I was about 17. I started playing. I always wanted to play. Everybody says, your hands are too fat. You can't put your hands on any fiddle. Too fat.
Asking for questions now.
Shoot, I believe it.
Hell, that's
I
smart.
thought it was true. Look at my hands. Yeah, they're pretty fat.
Yeah. Oh,
Finally,
they're all saying that he's got.
I made up my mind about 17. I says, I'm going to buy me a fiddle, and I'm going to learn. So I went down to the music store, and I bought me a fiddle. I got a case of the whole work, student outfit. So I went down to this man. Well, man, shoot, he was younger than I was at the time. This boy, yeah, he was a real good bluegrass fiddler. So he showed me, how to take care of the fiddle, put strings on it, how to tune it, and things like that. And I says, now I'm not rightly used to so much of the bluegrass style and things like that. I said, I like it, but I want to play the old way. And he says, well, I know what you're talking about. He said, what you've got to do, he said, there's going to be a convention down here in Franklin County. He says, you've got to go down there to that, and you'll get to see some of those people. He says, you get around them and work with them a while, and they can teach you stuff to you. So I went down there, and sure enough, had a lot of fun. So I started going to these critters whenever I get a break, get a chance. And let's see, I went to college. Yeah, it was the first year I was there. In fact, it was that fall. It was an orientation thing.
Which is where?
Oh, Emory and Henry.
Uh-huh.
Down here at Abbey, Mountain View area. But now Albert Hash come down there, and he brought his band, had Thornton Spencer and Emily and all that crowd with him, So he got up there, and I mean, he laid down and sounded good, and I just thought my head pop open. Man, that's not ever heard. And still, I think it's the best I ever heard.
I know it was.
And so after the show was over, I made up my mind. I said, I can go up there and ask that man if he won't take a little time, show me something,
You nervy guy.
Now, I was very polite.
Oh,
I waited until after everything was over. Then I went up and asked him. And so Albert says, why, yeah, sure. Says, come on up to the house. He gave me directions to get there, He lived up on top of White Top in Grayson County here. So I commenced going up there one day, and I started driving, and I drove, and I drove, and I drove, and I drove some more. So I stopped and I asked these people, I said, you know Albert Hash? Yeah, I said, he lives over the 3rd Creek. And I said, well, my God, how many creeks is it? We went on. And finally we got there. I think altogether it was about 50 miles, and I was expecting a trip of about 15,
Wow.
So got there, I had a big time with Albert, and he told me, he says, my grandson doesn't want to take up any music. He said he's not interested in it. And he says, Audrey, she likes to play a dulcimer. He says, I don't have anybody right now really to show music to. He says, I'd like to show it to you. And he said, you got to promise me one thing. And I said, now what's that? He says, you got to promise me that you'll be serious about it. That you're not just going to go take off out here and do other things and whatnot. Or that you'll all of a sudden turn around and start picking bluegrass and whatnot and call that old time. He said, I want you to get a hold of my bow lick, and I want you to be able to play that way. I like to see it preserved. So I told him, well, yes, sir. Anyway, he started working with me, and that's about where it all began. I worked with Albert.
How'd he show you?
Till he died. Oh, well.
How'd he do it?
Well, sometimes I'd vex Albert right there. And he would come around behind you. I had my fiddle hand on the saw stroking and going on. He'd say, no, no, no. He'd come around behind you. He's always the most mild-mannered man. Come around behind you. He'd grab a hold of your bowing arm like this, and he'd say, no, like this now.
Oh, you love it.
And he'd make you use that underhanded lick.
Neat.
Yeah. So your power stroke in your fiddling then is your upstroke instead of a downstroke. It's always your upstroke. And he always started.
He rocked you into it.
Yeah.
Physically.
Yeah.
I like that. I like that.
And the other way he'd make me do, you had to go to the table. Never mind all the mess, but and put your fiddle up here and lay your elbow here on the table. And that way you couldn't move your upper arm.
Do it again.
See,
Wow.
now you can't saw stroke any. You've got to use your wrist now.
Wow.
Your forearm like that. So, anyway, he showed me that. And I couldn't catch it, and I couldn't catch it. We worked with it, and he'd get mad now and again. Never would say anything, harsh to you. He never did. Never raised his voice that I ever heard. Yeah, come around behind me, I got to pull that arm and work it some more. And one day I was sitting in my room, I was in college in Still at the time, and I guess I'd been working with Albert about a year then. And I was trying, and all of a sudden it hit me. He said it would. He said, you'll get it all of a sudden, so it'll just hit you like a ton of bricks. And it did. All of a sudden, hey, this is natural. I've got you. And I had to relearn everything then, because you're, in essence, bowing backwards. So,
Yeah.
went on from there, and he would show me tunes and whatnot. And by then, it was coming near time to graduate. And we graduated. And I kept right on with music, working. And when I get a chance off from work and other things, I come one of these things.
Well, what's your profession?
Actually, I'm a Presbyterian minister now.